Moving on to long ball number 2 here on Monday. We'll shift our focus. We'll stay with Americans abroad, but move to the UK-based American players. Headline matchup of the weekend was Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest, two of the surprise teams, two of the informed teams in the Premier League, and Tyler Adams was at the front and center of this, playing a top game for the winners, who ended up blowing out Nottingham Forest 4-5-0. Tyler Adams, 2 assists, played the full game, looked excellent. You said the coach for Bournemouth has played his cards just right, and this continues as Adams not only is getting into the team, he's a standout in the team now.
Yeah, look, he got an assist. I believe that was
the first one.
Was it the first goal?
The
first goal from Kluivert in the 9th minute. He gets an assist. I don't
know
if
80 yards down the field.
I don't know if a pass in your own half can count as an assist when you just give the ball to Kluivert and he dribbles the entire Nottingham Forest defense and scores. But whatever. That's what Tyler Adams is supposed to do, right? He's supposed to be excellent in recoveries, excellent defensively, and he's supposed to be decent enough moving the ball forward that we can say, all right, what we've got here is a talented, a top level. Like, okay, I don't want to get into the debate about world class. Okay, I'm over the world class debate for the most part. Tyler Adams is not a world class midfielder because he doesn't have the next level passing ability. But I think it would be silly not to say he's not a world class defensive midfielder in the defensive portion of the game. Like, I think it would be ridiculous to say he's not world-class as a defender in that part of the field. And again, if he can be smart about where to get the ball after he recovers it, if he can, then great. That's an extra level. But 100%. Andoni Iraola has played it perfectly. He allowed Tyler Adams to play his way back into fitness. He's allowed him to play his way back into the team as a fixture, as a player that they trust, that the players around him trust, and it's paying dividends for Bournemouth, who I think, despite the season that Nottingham Forest has had, I don't think that this result is unfair in terms of how I view these two teams. I think Bournemouth is a better team than Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest has just been they've taken advantage of some situations. Obviously, winning away at Anfield is a big thing for them. So they've done some things. Their margins are much narrower, and you can see that Bournemouth under Iraola has continued to grow and grow and grow, and they are a threat for a European place in the Premier League.
Yeah, Tyler Adams getting an 8.9 on FotMob, 2 assists, 23 of 27 passing, 2 chances created, and 45 touches on the ball. Moving into other results, Chris Richards played and possibly injured for Crystal Palace in their loss to Brentford. Your Fulham unfortunate performance, Anthony Robinson did not create a whole lot, and Fulham lost. And then I don't know if we want to sit on those at all, but I do want to mention Josh Sargent back in the team, back in the score sheet for Norwich.
Yeah, look, it's not a bad thing to have Ricardo Pepi scoring when he comes on as a sub to help PSV Eindhoven win a game in Holland. It's, to have Josh Sargent scoring a brace on, I think, what was his first start back since his surgery. I do think that among U.S. men's national team fans, there is a sense that Josh Sargent isn't good enough, right? That Josh Sargent isn't the level we want for the U.S. men's national team. And I think that's a reasonable take based on what we've seen from him in the national team. I think he hasn't scored in years for the U.S. men's national team, and you can only judge a player on his performances when he shows up for his country. And like, whatever he does for Norwich, it's nice, but it doesn't mean he's going to score a bunch of goals in the United States if Mauricio Pochettino decides to give him opportunities. But I don't think you want it to be that nobody, like Josh Sargent is not doing well at Norwich. You want there to be options that are in form. So again, if you're not sure that Sargent can do it for the U.S. men's national team, that's fine. Maybe Pepi is your starter. But again, Pepi's not playing consistent minutes. So if there is any issue at all, or if Pepi gets hurt, or there's some, again, where is Folarin Balogun in our power rankings right now as at striker for the U.S. men's national team?
It's kind of wild because
4,
people were losing
5.
their minds when he first declared for the United States, and yeah, he is not really sniffing that starting lineup, is he?
It's it is that thing where maybe we overrated him because he was a dual national and because it was we really want him to choose us, pick us, validate us, and then he did. And I was like, oh, he's going to be great. And then there was some heat around Balogun coming out of Arsenal, and he wanted to play. They didn't really have a spot for him, and they sell him to Monaco, and it just. Again, injuries have been part of the story for Balogun, which is not necessarily his fault, but it's been tough, right? It's been tough watching that not come to fruition. So if we don't have Balogun scoring goals, well, it'd be nice to have other players doing things that kind of force them into the conversation. And again, you may not be convinced about Sargent, but it should never be. We don't want that player to be having good performances at his club level. And so for Sargent to score 2 good goals for Norwich in this game in the championship is a nice bit of information going into March and going into the rest of 2025.
Other quick notes in England: Aidan Morris returned from injury, played 90 minutes in Middlesbrough, lost to Preston North End. Brendan Aronson and Leeds play.
Let me say something
today.
about Aidan Morris. That is good news for Aidan Morris, who was on a good run at Middlesbrough in his first season before he got hurt, and with Luca de la Torre deciding to go to Major League Soccer to play for San Diego, I'm not saying that he's out of the picture. And Pochettino has been clear that he still has an open door policy to MLS players, that he's not just dismissing MLS players. But I think a lot of people are going to demote Luca de la Torre. And he wasn't playing at Celta Vigo, so that's another thing, right? If you're not playing, you can't even be in the picture. But if you are playing and you're playing in Major League Soccer, it gets a little bit tougher to know where you fit. But if he's now in Major League Soccer, I think that probably helps Aidan Morris maybe in his quest to be in that picture in that area of the field. Although there's sort of this imperfect group behind Tyler Adams that nobody's quite there defensively like Tyler, and then there are the guys that maybe are pretty good defensively, don't bring the passing level, or they're like Luca where the passing level is very good but the defensive element is not as strong. So and I can throw Gianluca Busio into this conversation. So there's a lot of that in the midfield for the US right now.
Maybe with all their pieces combined, they can make like a transformer midfielder with all their best talents and combine them all together. There.
Voltron. You mean Voltron. Make sure that you get the right reference in there.
Yeah, Voltron at the number 6.